As you note in your really wonderful video series, we are a cooperative species, but we also compete and always have. And we have to create ways to make those two things work.
What we've done with our political thinking is you get to demonize competition and valorize cooperation, or the other way around. If you're right wing, you think competition's terrific, and if you're left wing, you think cooperation is the go. Now, let me ask you, Martin, this is a rhetorical question and you will recognise what I'm after, but is tennis fundamentally competitive or cooperative as a game?
Well, I know the Gruen answer, which is, of course, like all other games, it's both.
It's both. And so I kind of started thinking about this, and everywhere I looked, there was nothing of any worth in human life or human interaction that didn't contain these things. And in fact, as you know, I've been thinking about this thing, it's an idea of economists, of public goods. A road is a public good because you can't sell it in a market, so we provide it by government. The car that drives on it is a private good because we can sell them competitively in a market. And so I kind of read up and thought a lot about public goods. This conversation is an example. You have your interests, you have your purposes for being here. I have my purposes for being here. I might want to make some money out of you. I might want to prove to you what a clever person I am. Who knows what my private motives are. But if you and I are to make any decent use of this time, we will cooperate. Firstly, we will be using the English language, which is a public good, a very specific public good, which is the possession of everyone who speaks English. So our interaction is shot through with private and shared characteristics. If we're playing a game of tennis, and if it's an important enough game of tennis, we go and get ourselves an independent umpire. Once you and I got ourselves an umpire, it would already be a pretty bad conversation, as we know when we watch a candidates debate. So here we are in life itself, endlessly propagating, endlessly practicing this ecology of the private and the shared. And if we think in that way, I guess one thing I'd say in favour of thinking like this is that it gives you something that's very simple and something that's very kind of, well, it's not very ideological. I mean, in fact, I'm saying we should push the scales a bit further towards cooperation, but that'll be different in every single kind of game that we play. And it's not an ideological comment. It's actually, the insight comes from economics, which is, if I can quote our former Prime Minister, Paul Keating, Australia's former Prime Minister, who quoted an old politician from the Depression, a guy called Jack Lang. Jack Lang explained to Paul when he was a young politician, in the race of life, always back a horse called self-interest. At least you know it's trying. And so we're more vigorous, we're more thoughtful, we're more skilled at defending our own interests, and that can often lead to a lack of skill, a lack of attention to all of the shared needs of a situation. And that's my argument about what's going wrong with pretty much everything, from academia to politics, that it's being colonised by self-interest. And in fact, that self-interest is, that idea of self-interest represents the way in which thinking about markets has taken over everywhere, and we believe that the only way to govern a system is to assume people are self-interested within it and try to come up with tricks and games in which their pursuing their own interest will end up doing something of shared value.